Hi, it's me, Mrs. Davis, and today we're going to be looking at Star Wars Adventures in Wild Space, The Escape. This one cost me £1 from W.H. Smith's. Adventures in Wild Space, The Escape. It is a time of darkness. With the end of the Clone Wars and the destruction of the Jedi Order, the evil Emperor Palpatine rules the galaxy unopposed. Far away in the unknown regions of wild space beyond Imperial borders, Milo and Lena Graff accompany their explorer parents on their expeditions. As the Graffs scout a remote and unmapped swamp world, the shadow of the Empire draws ever nearer. Chapter 1, Marshfields. Milo, can you hear me? Come in, please. Lena Graff's land speeder kicked up the marsh water as it sped across the swamp. Skim snakes the colour of rainbows burst from the heavy canopy above, spooked by the engine. Through gaps in the branches, Lena could see that the sky was darkening, the stars obscured by thick clouds. "Mistress Lena," came a clipped voice behind her, "your parents won't be happy if you and your brother are still out after nightfall." "I know," Lena snapped back, trying not to take her frustration out on CR-8R, the family's droid. She thumbed the comlink on the loudspeaker's steering column. "Milo, where are you?" There was no response. Lena threw the landspeeder around a vine-cornered tree, nearly sending CR-8R tumbling from the ramshackle craft. "Careful, Mistress Lena." "I've told you 100 times, Crater, lose the mistress. It's just Lena." "Yes, Mistress Lena." There was no point arguing with CR-8R, especially when she had a missing brother to find. Beep, beep, beep. A tiny red light blinked on the dashboard's locator screen. A smile spread over Lena's face. "There you are." It was a homing beacon, transmitting from Milo's speeder bike. He'd complained when their mum fitted it, but she'd insisted for good reason. 9-year-old Milo was always running off. It wasn't that he was particularly rebellious, but he had definitely inherited their parents' natural curiosity. Auric and Rissa Graff were interplanetary explorers, cartographers who'd spent the last 15 years producing maps of wild space, an unknown cluster of star systems on the very edge of the galactic rim. It was the only life Lena and Milo had ever known. They had been born on the Graff starship, the Whisperbird, and had grown up exploring strange worlds ever since. Lena wouldn't have it any other way, but could do without having to repeatedly search for her younger brother every 5 minutes. It was always the same. They'd make planetfall and Milo would be off, hoping to discover a new species and become famous. His expeditions usually ended up with sprained limbs and a lecture from Dad, although they knew that he was secretly proud of his kids' misadventures. But this trip was different. They'd brought the Whisperbird down to this seemingly insignificant planetoid and set up camp in the middle of a vast rock-lined plain. "You two, stay close to camp," Auric Graff had said. "There's a storm brewing, and I don't want to have to chase around after you two when it hits." Milo had disappeared almost immediately, Lena receiving an urgent holo message just a few hours later. "Need your help. Come to the swamp, now." But where is the swamp? According to the bird's first sensor sweep, the marshfields were huge, covering at least 2/3 of the planet's surface. This was typical of Milo, to get so excited that he forgot to give basic information, like where he was. "Mistress Lena, the signal." "I see it, Crater," Lena replied, watching the red dot trace across the screen. "Almost there." Ahead, the landspeeder's floodlight glinted off metal. Lena slowed, bringing the craft to a halt. Milo's speeder bike lay on its side in shallow water. "Well, that's not going to help with the paintwork," CR-8R tutted as Lena leapt from her seat and splashed over to the abandoned speeder. She tried the bike's controls. They were dead. No power at all. What had happened here? Had Milo crashed? "Master Milo," CR-8R called out. "Where are you?" "Crater, shh!" Lena hissed. "This place could be crawling with razor boars." "Well, excuse me for trying to locate your wayward brother," CR-8R replied haughtily. "I just assumed that's why you dragged me out into this abominable quagmire. For all we know, Master Milo is up to his neck in a sink bog." "And if we're lucky, we'll lose you in one too," Lena muttered beneath her breath. That's all for now, but if you'd like to read more about Lena and Milo's adventures in the book Star Wars Adventures in Wild Space, The Escape, then you can borrow it from my library anytime. It's by Cavan. Happy reading!